Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Investing Bros with special guest Tim Warren. No, thank you, everybody, for being here. We got a lot of people in chat. Got a great show lined up for you today. There's two very big important things. Like obviously, we're talking CPI. That's where the title is. We're talking CPI numbers. What does that mean? Will Bitcoin be mooning here very soon? Put a poll over there in chat. Very interested to see what you guys think about the prices you're looking for in Bitcoin before you maybe take some profit and go away. But do not forget that today also we have the Shanghai update going live for Ethereum. We have been waiting for this for a while. What is going to happen? The naysayers will say we're going to see a crash on Ethereum, but myself and others believe that this should be a very bullish sign for Ethereum as well. But we got to wait till later on the show to cover that news and talk a little bit more about that. So make sure to go ahead and smash that like button. If anyone is new here, thank you so much for joining us this morning. We are the Investing Bros, where we go live every single weekday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We cover crypto, we cover Bitcoin, we cover altcoins, we cover the stock market, we look at the news, we look at the charts, everything that you need to know about so that you can be investing wisely for yourself. We got it right here. So go ahead and join the community. Hit that subscribe button. You will not regret it. I'm joined by two amazing, fantastic, beautiful, talented, illustrious, any other word I can think of that is a positive word for two gentlemen who have run this show very nicely in my absence. Starting off with the man sitting across the desk from me, known now, I guess, as a drill master of kinds. T-Shroom, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing really good, Tim. And if I get excited, I'm gonna power up my drill. But no, it's good to have you back in the studio. And I get illustrious all the time. People see me, they say, "This is an illustrious man," but I don't get powerful very much. So that's very nice to get a unique compliment this morning. Yeah, if you go over to my screen, we've got a really good quote from the man, Warren Buffett. No relation to Tim Warren. He said, "If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die." That's big words from Big Warren, and we'll be hearing a little bit more from him today later on in the stories. So that's that.
You know, not that I am the biggest fan of Warren Buffett in the world. He's very anti-Bitcoin, anti-crypto. Him and I would definitely have some arguments if we were to be in the same room. I would much rather be associated with Warren Buffett than Elizabeth Warren, which I don't think there's, again, any blood relative there, but we do share a last name. And you know what I found out? My dad had a lot of family in Massachusetts. So maybe she is Auntie Beth. I'm going to have to find out at Thanksgiving when we connect and see how distant we are. Working on that long term. We're also joined by Army Piper, who did a fantastic job leading the show Monday and Tuesday. How are you doing this morning, Piper?
I'm doing great, brother. I'm doing great. I'm glad to have you back, though. You are big shoes to fill. I don't have your traps, and I definitely don't have your bearded charisma. So I got a little bit of a bearded charisma here going. So
here's what I'm thinking. I know I teased this in the Discord, so Discord people would know this, but I'm thinking from if I ever have to miss shows in the future, that I'm going to get some fake beards for you guys to wear. T-shirt, I mean, yours is coming out, but you always have to shave yours. Like once a month, you have to shave yours completely off. No. Piper is just now, for the first time in a long time, allowed to start growing his out. But to help you guys out, we're going to get some fake beards you guys can wear. What are your guys' thoughts about that? This will be, you know, we are going to be the most generous crypto community on YouTube, but we also might shoot to be the most bearded crypto community on YouTube. And that means even if like I would love someday as we continue to build this channel and we have like females come on, the only thing is the females will have to wear fake beards because we're going to be the most bearded channel on crypto YouTube. That's probably a lie, and that's probably not going to happen. So for legal purposes, I'm going to say that was not true. But it would be exciting. Could be really cool. Man, I'm off 2 days, and I already forgot the flow of my show. What is next?
Thank goodness we have a nice little chart down there that keeps the progression monitor going there.
Well, Tim. Yeah, but I think I'm supposed to get into names here in a second. Also, here's another thing. So I know a lot of people, I guess in Discord, I was told by T-Shroom, hey, Tim, you got a lot of people are expecting an answer. What was Tim's business trip that Tim took? It was not a vacation. It was a business trip. If you want to find out more about what that business trip is, You're not going to find out today. In fact, you're not even going to find out tomorrow morning.
Ooh.
If you are in our gold or diamond members, I will be talking and releasing what is happening in the future tomorrow on Bro Time. That is for our gold and diamond members over in Discord. And then if you guys are like, well, I can wait, I will be announcing Friday morning because there's something big coming for the investing bros. You do not want to miss it, but I'm going to tease it just a little bit more, a couple more days. So that is what that is. It is time.
But
it is time. Oh, you have something
to be
else?
clear, he's not just teasing it to tease it. He's teasing it because it's important not to to go public with
timing. Timing is important. Timing is very, very important. So
there's no sense in just teasing something to tease it. So
yes. Gotta do a couple things. So let's go ahead and read some names here, and we'll get into our content today. First of all, a mellow fellow was the first commenter. His bot worked very well this morning. How did the bots work while I was gone? Did he reign supreme?
Yeah, I think it was Mellow Fellow both times, I believe.
Yeah. It's not surprising. That bot's pretty powerful. It's going to take some real competition and ingenuity to beat that out. But congratulations to a Mellow Fellow. I think that Eric Wallen is second, but the second commenter's name is also blocked by my poll, so I don't know for certain. But Mr. J is here this morning. Eric Brubaker is here saying he was fourth. Okay, yeah, so I think Eric Wallen is definitely here, though. Who else do we have? Shane Hansen is here asking saying that TA10 was on the basement. Yeah, I was on the basement. It was great. Loved being on that show. TJ's awesome. Al Bundles is here. Who else do we have? Justin Eubanks is here. Mike Play, Gia S, John Kahn, Bobby Smoot, Crimson Caravan Company, which, by the way, that was so cool. Like being on a different show on the basement, and then I'm hearing them call out names of people in our community. I was like, oh, that's so awesome. These names are all familiar. Let's see who else is here. Alex Green is here. Munchies is here. The classic IT guy is here this morning. Ninja Glock is here. Curtis Rorick. Let's see. Let's get a couple more here. Caleb Franzen is in chat. Good morning, Caleb Franzen. Out of curiosity, Caleb, what is your take so far this morning on these CPI numbers? A little bit of volatility, but ultimately green this morning. We'll talk about that more here in just a second. Let's get a couple more names, though. CBD Suddy is here. Let's see. Eric Wallen just said, Tim, you came back and Bitcoin went up. You broke the curse. Yeah, that's true. There is a curse surrounding me. Every time I leave Gainesville, good things happen for Bitcoin. So hopefully we broke the curse and I'm now back and it doesn't start going red again, but we shall see. Get a couple more here. Win Peoples is here. King.D is here. Brad Geidel is here. Love Brad Geidel. Love seeing him in chat. Who else do we have? Just a couple more names, then we're moving on.
Crypto military vet.
Crypto military vet. There we go. Josh Denham is here. And let's go one more. Crypto trades. Shout out to everybody who's here in chat. If I did not read your name, it's not because I don't love you. It is just time to go ahead and move on with our show today. Get into the content because we got a lot of juicy details. Starting off, though, with our macro overview. Of course, this is going to include CPI data, but Piper, what else is happening in our more macroeconomic outlook before we jump onto the charts this morning?
So taking a look here, Tim, guys, what we got going on here is we had the, first off, 30-year fixed mortgage rates coming down a little bit. It's kind of nice to see. So if you're looking at buying a property, not quite yet, but it is on its way down, so that's a good thing. But then the big one, it's going to be the CPI inflation data that came out this morning. So first off, the inflation rate month over month was up 0.1%, was actually on a consensus and forecast to be up 0.2 or 0.3%. So that came in better than expected. The core inflation rate came in at 5.6. It was on a consensus of 5.6 anyways, with a forecast of 5.5. Came in 0.1% higher year over year. Not too big of a deal, in my opinion. What was really being watched hard was that core inflation. But when you have this right here, guys, this is what has changed the market momentum this morning. Took all of that flat. We were flat this morning. I was watching Bloomberg. We were flat on futures. We were metals were pumping up. Crypto had a pullback a little bit. Bitcoin was holding on pretty tight, and I'm sure that you're going to get all into that one, Tim, at the $30,000 range. But when we came in with an expectation of 5.2 or 5.3, and we came in an entire 1% down on inflation rate, guys. This means that currently, as we sit right now, our inflation rate in the United States is exactly the same. It is neutral with our Fed rate levels. So This is super bullish, and I do suspect that when you pull up the FOMC, that we're going to be seeing that it is flipped on us. So that's the big news today. We do have FOMC minutes coming out this afternoon. They're going to dig into the actual wording, verbatim printout of what was said at the FOMC meeting, and some very people are going to attempt to be smart and figure out exactly what the code was in the wording that they all used over there at the Federal Reserve. We'll see what that is and see if that has any effect. But that's not everything's looking good right now. PPI is going to be coming in tomorrow, Tim. PPI right there tomorrow morning. So we'll see what that's going to look like. And that is going to round us out on Friday with the Michigan consumer sentiment and the retail sales month over month. So we got through the big one this week, CPI, and things are looking pretty good, Tim. Kicking it back over to you.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, what is Trueflation looking like this morning? Do you need a second to pull that up?
Yeah, let me pull that up for a second here. I'm just going to drop it in here, and I'm going to go true inflation, and we're going to get it up here. We're going to do this in real time because that's what we do, right? Hey, so looking at Trueflation,
behind the scenes,
4.34% is what we're looking at on Trueflation. So still up a little bit, about 2/100% not much. So that's pretty good. Government reported 5%. Trueflation saying that we're still lower. That's looking pretty good, Tim.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, flipping over here to my screen, the CMA futures tool, they're predicting what the next interest rate hike will be. We're still sitting squarely. This is moving slightly down. So this is, as we've seen crux of crypto say, just if you don't like what this is saying, wait 12 hours. It might be completely different. We still have 21 days until we actually have a report. A lot can happen. Banks can crash. Money can be printed. Wars can be started. This is far from being a sure thing, but we are seeing right now 65%, 66% saying we're going to get another 25 basis point rate hike. Let's fast forward, though, to December, where currently, while it's not anything conclusive, it is looking more like they're still predicting that the Fed at some point this year will end up pivoting, with the highest prediction right now saying we'll end December, or we'll get in December and end the year all the way back down at 425 to 450. So just to put that in perspective, this next rate hike would put us to 5 to 5.25, which is where Jerome Powell has said that's where he wants to be and stay there for a while. That would mean that they're predicting a 75 point cut before the year is over. So we'll definitely keep our eyes on that. Let's check on what the crypto fear and greed and Bitcoin fear. I always say crypto. Why do I say crypto? Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index this morning sitting at 65, so nothing crazy. I've talked about this before. This is high. You don't like seeing Bitcoin in the greed. However, it's not in the crazy greed. We've seen this before. I will die on this hill. Go back to 2019. I'm saying I'll die on this hill. I'll change my mind if something goes crazy. But when you compare things to 2019, let's go back. I'll do it right now on this side. It's been a minute since we did this. Where are we? 2019, right in here. So February to July of 2019. Look at how the fear and greed index just rose on this. It kept going up and down, up and down, up and down. But just because we got up here into the 70s, like in April, did not mean the price was ready to go down. It ended up peaking at that high that we had back in July of 2019 that Bitcoin had. It was all the way up at 95, 96. So we have a very long way. Just because the fear and greed index is rising does not mean the rally is over, but it should mean you guys are looking at this and saying, hey, let's not just think that all of a sudden Bitcoin is ready to take off, because again, you're looking at this. Let me go back to, I guess I have to stay here. We are way up here despite the fact that
you froze, Tim. They have both frozen. All right, so here we go. We're going to keep going here and let them come back in. I'm not sure exactly what happened over there, but let's go ahead and jump in and talk about that fear and greed chart. One thing that I like to do on that fear and greed chart is when we see when we see it hit that 90% mark, or we see it hit that 10% mark on fear and greed index, when it's at 90 and above, I like to take profit. When it is at 10 and below, I like to buy back in. It's a great take profit method you can do there. And let's go ahead and jump over to some charts and see what we've got working over here. Taking a look at the charts, looking at Bitcoin today. Yep, it's the Piper Show. It's what we do, man. I just keep on driving. Hopefully they will be back in shortly. I'm not sure what happened with their internet over there. So taking a look at Bitcoin first, guys. You can see here on Bitcoin, we did get a rejection up here at the 887 of my platinum pocket. I told you guys that this was playing on here really hard the other day, and now we have dropped back down. Came back up this morning on that CPI data and now got another rejection at the 887. We've got to get above this 887 and close this as support so we can get a nice retest up here before we go any higher. That's what I'm going to be watching today, is this level right here, the 887, coming in at about 30,477. If you take a look at the MACD, I'm looking at a 4-hour chart right now. You can see that the signal line looked like it was about to cross until this candle pumped us up here. Once that candle pumped up, you can see that the MACD line started to pull away from the signal line there. Let me bring that in just a little bit more focus. There you go. You can see it now. Pulled away there and did not actually get that cross down. It looks like the histogram is going flat right now, so I do think that we're probably going to get the histogram coming back up like this also. And on the looking at the oscillator here on the Chart Prime oscillator, you can see that we do have a little curvature coming in on the ribbon line, and that it is starting to flip back up. I'm going to be watching for this to start to pinch here and get that nice little pinch action before it comes back into line. So that's what we're looking at on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and drop over onto Ethereum, and I'll show you what I'm looking at over there. Actually, right here we go. So Ethereum had some interesting things yesterday, guys. We had pumped up again into this 886 up here, which actually should be an 887. Not really sure why that says 886. Need to fix that one because that is not my platinum pocket. 7, there we go. Looking at the 887 here, you can see that we got a rejection off of it again. Also hitting on our predictive ranges, upper trade band. Remember, we trade normally between these two bands here. We got a rejection off of that yesterday. It's going to be Monday, actually, in the evening that we got that rejection. We printed this evening star. I've told you guys before that when we look at the predictive, or we look at these candlestick patterns and we get a morning star or an evening star will be at the top of a peak. Morning stars will be at the bottom if we get them. They're very rare, guys. So when we see them come in like this one here, that is a good sign that you're going to have a pullback. Evening star is a very bearish candlestick pattern. So what happened there is downturn, right? And then we started to get this info. We kind of went flat overnight. The CPI came in this morning, the last 4-hour candle, bringing us back up, currently sitting at about 1891. So we're going to see how that works out. Not really sure what is going on. Yep, got it. So, yeah, they're trying to work back in here, guys. We're going to keep this rolling, and I'm just going to do what we can do. So if you take a look here, what's going on, it's this 1921 level on the platinum pocket that we're going to have to get back above. I think that if we can get that bounce there, and, yep, Tim and I lost internet. Guys, I'm going to continue on with the show until they can get their internet back up and running. That's what we're going to do here because the show must go on, and I'm going to do this for Tim. I'm going to do it for Tim. I'm going to do it for Beamer. I'm going to do it for all of you guys out there. So, yeah, if we can get back above 1921 here on this Ethereum chart, get that as support, it would be very bullish in my opinion. And I still do believe that we are heading up to 2200 here on this. The reason for that being, and I'll show you guys here, do I have that on? I do not. Let's go ahead and drop that on here, and I'll show you guys what I'm looking at here on Ethereum with this extension. Give me 1 second. We'll turn off some of this stuff here so that I have it nice and clean for you. And then I'm going to go grab my fibs over here. We'll grab a fib retracement. And what I was looking at on this, and actually, I do think it's on my USD. So let's check that one. Yeah, there it is. Actually, if on this extension here, I've got a fib retracement that has it running all the way up to 2200. I'm going to have to rebuild that one. Yep, it is. It is a rebuild. So there is an extension. If you guys saw the strategy video that I did on Chart Prime using this, basically this is a special settings that I have for some fibs. And if I run this up here to that level, I'm going to go ahead and double click on it here and go to my strategy one, and you'll see what I'm looking at here. This is the strategy target up here, and it's sitting at 2135. So it's close to $2,200 Ethereum. It's going to be sitting at 2135. That's going to be my target. And you can see we got the rejection on the 618 using this strategy. Got a nice bounce out of the golden pocket. You would enter on the 382. That's my ultimate target, 21 up there. So 2135, I do think if we hit that psychological number, if you go back and look at what I had over here for the fixed range volume profile, you'll see that we don't really have anything over here in this 21 range. In the 21 range, it's going to stop us because once we get up there, we're above all of this. And you can see there's a nice run up all the way past to that 2300 level. So I think if we break that 2100, we're going to be looking at coming in at 2373. So a lot of hopium in that, but hey, we'll see if it happens. So let's go and take a look at some news here. Hot news today. I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on this other screen over here real fast. If you guys give me a second, because T-Shroom normally does this and we have to keep rolling without him. So let me get into a couple of things of news items here that he has in his document, and we will see what we have. Oh, I do want to open this up for you guys. We're going to be taking a look at this in about 10 minutes here. This is going to be on our stocks in the market open. And let me get to the next scene here. There we go. Over to Safari. This is going to be our Yahoo Finance. It's going to be our heat map. We're going to be taking a look at this here in about 10 minutes or 9 minutes now when the market's open, seeing how things are coming in here because we know that crypto's got to move up, but we do not see anywhere that we have big movement in the stocks. Even if I go over and get back onto the charts here, I want to show you guys what we have coming in on the futures. Let's get those up here and I'll show you what we got. Show you what we're working with over here. So looking at stock futures right now, let's see. Yeah, we got the stocks futures coming in currently. It looks like there is a Dow Jones is coming in a little bit high right now. It's pumping a little bit, 33.75. Matter of fact, if we go take a look at the 4 screener, you can see Dow Jones making a nice little flag here. Did get a possible reversal down. But with this Dixie continuing its push down right here, this is telling me that we do have a good possibility that crypto is going to continue to push up and that the Dow Jones has a good possibility of dropping down. I have got Tim in my ear right now. Hey, Tim, what's up? How you doing, man?
What's up, guys? So the Wi-Fi is not the router.
Hold on, Tim. You're not in. You're not in. Hold on. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, I got to get you on here. Because it's your other camera source. So there we go.
Yeah.
Tim, what's up, dude? How you doing?
What's up, guys? Fun thing. Wi-Fi needs cables to be running electricity and to run the system. And we're pretty sure that a tree fell on our local, something on a local wire because internet is just out completely. And it's not the router. It's saying it's a cable failure. So that does mean that this is going to be very interesting to show. I think T-Shroom is going to connect here in just a second. He still can look at his stories and stuff, but I will not. This is going to be how I have to finish
Tim,
the
we're
show.
back up.
So I get to walk and talk.
Awesome.
Tim,
awesome.
The internet's back up, Tim.
It's back
Tim,
up?
it's back up. Get in there. I'm going to bring up T-Shroom.
All right, you do that. I'm coming.
All right, so yeah, finish it out here, guys. Looks like we're getting back going here. I'm just covering down until the rest of my team gets here because I don't like to fight alone. I like battle buddies in my foxhole. So get back in here, guys. Looking here, like, again, the dollar Dixie continuing to pull down here, looking nice and dumpy, which is fantastic because I'd like to see some more pumpy from the dumpy, and I would like to see this flag on the traditional markets get a little bit of a pump up there too. So T-Shrew.
Hey. Sorry,
Glad
guys.
to have you back, T-Shrew. Glad to have you back.
You can't control when trees fall on wires or little gerbils bite through the wires. We have no idea, but nothing changed about our modem. So I don't think it was a modem issue. It was just somewhere in the internet infrastructure of Gainesville, Florida, things went awry. But we're back, and I'd say probably at this point, Tim, if you had any big breakthrough thoughts on Bitcoin, TA, maybe just jump right back into those.
It's about to get really messy here. All right, to clean that.
But it's okay.
Yeah, we'll just get back on the main schedule. Maybe like 9:35 we'll go to the stock open.
Listen, I come back, I ruin everything. You got to have a special show. Special shows mean different schedules. What's up, everybody? That was fun. Very much fun right there. Yeah, so we want to just get back in. I mean, we didn't get to watch all of what Piper covered. Piper, as far as TA, what did you get into?
I went over Bitcoin, showed them what we needed to
Okay.
do and get above that platinum pocket. You're frozen again,
Okay.
and that's not good. Yeah, there we go. You're good. You're good. I went through Ethereum. I talked about the Dixie dumping hard and that everything's looking pretty good right now in comparison to the Dixie. And I also did a little look at some of the futures, US 30, ES1, S&P, DJI, all that good stuff to show that we were looking pretty decent there right now. US 30 currently up 0.4%. The ES1 is up, which is a future. These are all futures contracts. ES1 is going to be your S&P 500 E-minis. It's up 0.5% right now. And the NAS 100 futures is up almost 0.7%. So markets are looking pretty strong right now off the CPI data.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's going to be, I think it's going to be a green day as a whole. Bitcoin at the moment is in the red, but we're still sitting at 30,200, but technically the daily candle is a little bit red. I got to share my screen, don't I? Yeah. And when you get back in here and you reboot, you got to come over here. Yeah, so this is going to be cool too, because I mean, you guys have been able to see Piper's TA here the last couple of days. For those who watched the basement, what is the blockchain basement? I did get to be on there Monday and Tuesday, kind of did some radio TA. Kind of walk through some of those things. But in case anyone did not get to hear that, or if you're joining for the first time, the show is not normally like this. It's usually crazier, is honestly how I would say that. But there's a couple of things I'm looking at right
But I've
here
always got you guys' back. I've always got our viewers' backs. Always.
Listen, one way or another, this show is going to go on. Eric Brubaker said the problematic live streams are the best. And it's okay, good. I love it. The point of today is to be entertaining, I guess, not maybe as informational of a show. But you guys can see right here that we had developed here a little bull flag pattern. I think I talked about this last week. If you extrapolate this over, I'm just going to go ahead and, even though you could probably go up to where we actually started breaking out, I'll just go ahead and stay at the bottom. This is going to give us a price all the way up towards 36,000. Something that's really significant, though, about that 36,000 is not just the bull flag. It's also when you pull up our fixed range volume profile. I'm going to go all the way back to January of 2022 just to get a lot of the data from this bear market. And where the price points are. Do you guys remember the significance that was talked about not only on this channel, but most technical analysis channels about the gap, the volume gap we had back here between 25.2 all the way up till about 27,000, give or take? Well, guess what? Right above us, if we can beat out 32,000, which you guys can see right here is a little bit more volume right there, we had another gap that runs up all the way to guess where? Pretty much 36,000. So not only do we have a bull flag kind of calling for this, we have the breakout of a megaphone pattern that kind of played out just beautifully, as we told you guys about. You had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave. We now got above this level of resistance, came back, tested as support. We pretty much rode it as support, and now it's time to break to the upside. So I told everyone on the blockchain basement, I was like, hey, my first area I'm looking at, I would not be surprised if we get to 30, if we can break through 32 and then shoot up to 36,000 and get a little hesitancy right there. But I still think we're breaking through. We're going a little higher. Let's go back and do a little bit of that 2019 analysis that we've been talking about for a while. And I had made some charts here, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff right here. Something that you guys should know about, and I've said this before, but I want to say it again right here. This is where I think we're kind of breaking out. I think we're somewhere right in this region. And if we're kind of repeating, we shot up after hitting our low back into December of 2018. We shot up above key level of resistance, and then we hesitated. We kind of ranged sideways for 31 days. If you guys go in here and count these candles, which you can do with this little tool right here, I'm going to start with this one right here. Boom. I think it's 31, 32 days before we broke new. Yeah, 32 days before we finally started to make some real momentum moves to the upside. And then in just a matter, once we did that, of 17 days, let's look at this. Well, actually, I can go all the way back to here. Let's go back to this bottom point. In just 16 days, we rallied over 85% to go all the way back up into a golden pocket from the former all-time high back here set in 2017. And then we had a 54% dip. What that means is that Bitcoin, where we currently are, we just did a similar move. I'm going to go back over to modern day. We had a similar move. After bottoming out here, we finally broke through this key level of former resistance. We hesitated for, how many days was this? I think it's going to be like 23 or 24. before making it right. 22, actually, 23. On the 23rd day, we broke through and we're starting to make a move. Do not be surprised, everybody, especially with the CPI numbers coming out the way that they did. Do not be surprised if we see Bitcoin shoot up very quickly, meaning maybe 16, 17 days is a little bit too soon, but guess what? We still have how many days left in April before May? And of course, everyone's been talking about that sell in May, walk away.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a very good chance that when people are saying like, oh, how high can we get? Guess what? We've done it before. We shot up 85% in just a couple of days. If we were to do it again right here, let me go ahead and just show you guys in case you're wondering, 85%, that would put us up here towards, well, I guess if I went down to the bottom, actually, let's go down to the bottom of this range and shoot down back down 85%. 85% puts us at 49.77 right there at $50,000. That is still a level that I'm keeping my eyes on, just like I said before. Again, maybe we hesitate. If we break through 32, shoot up to 36, hang there for a second. But then what I'm watching for is that 42 to 50K range. Let me even bring that up. I've talked about this before, but in case anyone is new, I want to even reiterate this to you guys. And I'll go back to 2019 and look at this once again. So at the moment, a 36K move, here's another reason to think that we could hesitate right there. That brings us up to the more macro 0.382 level. That's important. So again, as we make this move, watch out for there. I'm not saying take a bunch of profits. If you want to take a little bit, this is non-financial advice, but you could take profits right there. The 0.5 level is sitting right here at 42,000. And then, of course, our golden pocket, 48 up to 50. Going back and looking at 2019, let's pull up the exact same thing. Let's pull up our Fibonacci and just kind of compare and look at what's happening here on the daily chart. This is the significance. I said this on the blockchain basement, but I've said it here before as well. Do not be surprised necessarily if you have let's see, actually, this is on the weekly chart. Do not be surprised if we were to shoot up and in 1 week have a wick that goes all the way up into the golden pocket, but we end up having a lot more of our candles closing right here towards the 50%. Also, history likes to repeat itself in ways, but not matching it perfectly. I told people this is kind of my plan. My plan when I'm looking to take profits on Bitcoin, I'm not going to take any at 36. I think we're making it up at least to this 0.5. I will probably take a little bit of profit at 42K. Why? Because it is the 0.5 level, next significant level of resistance. Also, as we start growling up high, people are going to start turning their attention towards 50K, new all-time highs. They're going to just keep going up and up and up and up. And Bitcoin has a way, manipulators have a way of faking things out. I would not be surprised whatsoever to see the price of Bitcoin kind of get up here. Let me actually kind of draw this out. We get up here. We'll kind of hesitate right here for a second, trade a little sideways, maybe dip it on a little bit, then jump up here and then spend time right here and possibly have a wick real quick and then come back down to this range and then hover and then start our descent back down. I would not be surprised at all to see that. So what I am doing is I am going to be taking a little bit of profit. I'm taking some profit here at 42K, and I will leave some in the bag for a wick to 48, not 50K. Some of you might be saying, well, Tim, why not 50K? Because that's just not good trading advice. If you think a price is hitting a certain number, you should absolutely go a little bit below that and say, I'm taking my profit here. How many of you guys, let me know in chat, put a 1 in chat if you have ever picked a spot on a chart and you said, this is a great spot, I think price is going here. You take your take profit or you enter your buy-in level and the price comes like literally within 1 or 2% of that spot, but does not quite get to it. I have had that happen to me too many times to count. I got sick of it. I'm tired of it. I no longer, when I make a prediction on where I think things are going, I no longer use that exact level as my buy-in or my take profit. I use a little bit below or a little bit above, depending on what I'm looking at, because that's the best way to trade. So my personal preference is 42K and 48K are my levels. I'm looking to take some profit. I still believe, again, this is what we're talking about, that sell in May, walk away. We have NASDAQ's going to be releasing and letting people trade and short Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have the G7 here in May is going to be meeting about their trying to come up with some regulatory policy. I think that we're still going to see a lot of war and a lot of battling of crypto in general, but even Bitcoin. And I'm not going to be surprised to see a massive rally that gets a lot of retail investors excited. And then the manipulators, the whales, the people that know it's not quite time for a bull market just yet, they get to take their nice, juicy profits. We come crashing back down to 25,000, give or take. And then we kind of ride there for a second before the real bull market starts later on this year, early 2024. That's my thought. Another thing I'm keeping on, and we'll kind of move on after this, because again, the show, different show today, weird show today. But I want to make sure you guys have seen this. This is the Bitcoin dominance chart. Let me go back down to the daily chart. This is important, very important that you guys are aware of this. Back in the summer, so back in July of 2021, we hit a peak out right here. This is right there, right at the end of that bull market kind of, but we got really low. We peaked out, we came back down. Didn't mean to draw right there. Don't need that. We then rallied. We started to form a little bit of a channel. We set a new lower low here, 39%, but then we worked over time to come back up in the next summer, June of 2022, hit another level of high. All right. So we kind of confirmed. We got a lot of touches in a falling level of support. We now have 2 confirmed touches of falling level of resistance. Just here a couple of weeks ago, we came and touched it once again, and there was kind of that question mark of, okay, here we go. Is this it? Are we confirming? Is this the end of Bitcoin dominance? Are we about to enter a bull market and the dominance is going to fall again, and this is now our forever channel or something? No, we just broke through this. And here's the thing. I think a lot of people are excited about this, and I'm excited about this. This is great. It's one of the reasons why I'm very this is like confirming to me that we are moving higher. When people say we're going to reject at 32K, I'm like, no. Like, we just broke very significant level of resistance. Bitcoin is entering something new. This is bullish for Bitcoin. Let me tell you what this does tell us, though. This does tell us that the bull market is not ready. Bitcoin dominance is not going to be climbing like this, breaking resistance and rallying to the upside during a bull market. That's just not going to happen. It's great for Bitcoin. So Bitcoin maxis right now are very excited. Bitcoin absolutely could rally to 50K. Who knows? I mean, Bitcoin could rally higher than 50K. I think a lot of people have put a cap on it right there. Who knows if it goes a little higher? I don't think we're hitting new all-time highs before a bigger crash. But Bitcoin is in a good spot right now. This is not good for altcoins. I'm not saying that Ethereum and Cardano and Matic and all those can't have, and XRP can't have good runs. I'm not saying they won't trickle behind, but they will not outpace Bitcoin. And as long as they're not outpacing Bitcoin, I remove in a spot of like, I think this is more of a Bitcoin move. Altcoins are going to have a small rally. And then when that crash happens, when people start liquidating, taking profits, Bitcoin is going to get smashed. It absolutely is.
Smash.
But so are altcoins, and altcoins potentially will get smashed even worse, because I guarantee you guys, watch this. Watch later on this summer, maybe May, June, July, just like we've seen before. Watch there be not just, hey, like the banks are okay, but there will be all brand new levels of FUD. Like, I think we're going to see banks crash here, but I think we're also going to see crypto stuff happen. Exchanges going down, more FUD going out against Binance, maybe FUD going out against Coinbase, maybe the SEC and Gary Gensler actually land a W in one of their lawsuits for the first time. Something will happen to manipulate the price. Why? Not only because there's people fighting Bitcoin right now, but the whales and the defenders of it will have kind of got the full belly. They'll be like, oh, this is good. I'm about to make a lot of money right now. I'm going to take some profit up here at 48, 50K. I feel good. I now want Bitcoin's price to dip back down to 25,000 so I can now double my money. So watch the FUD just be released like the opening of the opening of a petting zoo, where they just release the animals out into the kids and it's just like flowing. I don't know why I'm going with this analogy, but I'm sticking with it.
Super weird analogy.
The floodgates. Have you ever seen that? There's petting zoos when they like release the animals to go out with the kids.
Yeah.
Sometimes kids get trampled. Right. That's so in this scenario, the bears are a bear petting zoo. That's just an analogy.
Bear.
Oh my goodness.
Analogy got away from me, but you guys get my point. It's literally everyone who's been defending Bitcoin and not allowing the FUD to affect it is going to say, all right, here we go. Let it happen. Like, I'm going to get my 50K, take profit. I'm going to allow the FUD to come in. The price is going to crash back down. And then, I mean, you think about it, it's beautiful. I mean, wouldn't you guys want to do that? Wouldn't you guys, if you could know 100%, would you guys not like to sell all of your Bitcoin at 50,000 and then buy it back at 25,000? Is that not a beautiful thing?
It is.
Yes, but as soon as I did that, it would go to 60,000. I know this to be true.
And it's true. And that's what everyone's going to think. Keep your we're going to keep you guys posted on it. We will be very open to changing our opinion and saying, hey, it's going to stay longer. But I think we should definitely learn our lessons from the past on this. Here's the other thing. It's like right now, I think there's a lot of people who are comfortable of saying, hey, 50K and then dip. I think they're comfortable right now. I promise you, though, when we actually get to 50K, the masses will be screaming bull market, new all-time high. Here we go. Everyone who doubted Bitcoin's an idiot, yada, yada, yada. And then they're going to get wrecked. Just so we know, bulls and bears just take turns getting wrecked. No one is ever 100% correct. Sometimes bulls are right, sometimes bears are right, but both of them have gotten their lickings. Both of them have gotten their wounds. It's going to happen again. Right now, it's really nice to be a bull, and it's really depressing to be a bear. But that will flip. The scenario will flip. And again, this comes back down to when you're doing technical analysis, you got to remove your emotions from it. It's a very emotional rally, and people are really emotional right now, especially with how we're looking at the US dollar and how it's being depreciated and how it's being inflated, and people are just losing confidence in it. It's very easy to be emotional and say, I want to move all of my value into Bitcoin, and then it starts pumping like crazy. Oh, here we go. It's just taking off. But if you take emotions out of it and you just watch price actions and you just watch how this stuff has moved in the past, it's not going to be surprising if we get this massive rally followed by a big crash. Mm-hmm. We're having 80%, 85% rally followed by a 50% crash. That is what markets do. Maybe not to that magnitude in the traditional markets, but in Bitcoin and crypto, that's sometimes normal Tuesdays.
I gotta tell you,
don't be surprised.
I gotta tell you, Tim, real fast. So you guys, a lot of people know, especially in our community, I flipped all of my Bitcoin into Ethereum and made quite a bit more money off of my Ethereum run up than the Bitcoin. And now that Bitcoin dominance has just taken off, and I missed that opportunity to flip back, I'm like, should I be flipping back over into Bitcoin? But I know as soon as I do, Bitcoin dominance is coming back down. So if you guys want Bitcoin dominance to come back down in the ETH and the alt season to take off running, let me know. I'll go ahead and take that bullet for everybody. Flip my ETH back into Bitcoin so that I can get this alt season moving. So,
well, just so you know, go back to my screen real quick. I would not be surprised. This is what is not done. And this could be a little fake out for you. This is what I think what you would say, Piper. You would flip and you would put all your money in Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin dominance chart will do this. But guess what? It'll bounce. So like we broke through resistance. We have not back tested and kind of solidified it. I'm not going to be surprised if that's what happens. Same thing that we saw happen right here. It's not even that far. What am I doing right here? There we go. Delete. Look at this right here. We broke through above a rising channel, hit a resistance, back tested back down to it, and then we broke, right? Same thing. I'm not going to be surprised, guys, to see Bitcoin dominance do this first. And people will say, oh, here we go, bull market. But no, that's just a small pullback, a very small pullback. It finds support on former resistance and then shoots to the upside. Just because we start to see dominance fall a little bit, don't fall for the lie that it's like, oh, here we go, altcoins are just going to take over. No, that's a very pullbacks and back testing is very, very common, very normal. It's a bullish sign for this chart, which is Bitcoin dominance, which is not great for altcoins. Which, by the way, I want to make sure I'm being very clear. I'm not saying that Bitcoin's going to take off to 50,000 and Ethereum's just going to stay at like 2,000 and Cardano's just going to stay at like 40 cents. They will climb, but watch Bitcoin shoot up 85%. Ethereum shoot up like 60%, 70%. Cardano shoot up like 50%. But then when Bitcoin crashes 50%, watch. I don't think Ethereum. I think Ethereum with deflationary stuff is not going to be as bad. But watch Cardano, Matic, DOT, these others crash another 60, 70%. And that's way brutal. That's way more brutal for them than for a Bitcoin 50% dip. I told I'm not guaranteeing this, but I think the Bitcoin bottom is in. I don't think we're going to see a lower than $15,000 Bitcoin. And I'm not certain that we're going to see new lows for altcoins.
Savvy does not approve that message.
I know he doesn't.
And Gareth Salloway now has your number. So
they can say what they want. Here's the thing. I put a tweet out about them. I really respect both those men. And I'm not even going to claim to be a better technical analyst than them because they both have way more years than me. They both have way more experience than me. But nobody is right 100% of the time. And just because they've made good calls in the past does not mean they're making the right call in the future. Everyone makes a bad call. And I'm not saying like, because of that reason, you should listen to me. I could be making a bad call right now. But I cannot say, well, Savvy thinks and Gareth Soloway thinks, so therefore I have to think. No, I need to think for myself. And when I do my analysis and I look at my charts and I think for myself, I'm making the call that I think that this is a bull run, not bull market, bull run closer to 50K, and then a massive pullback. It fits in with, because they're still seeing things that's saying, like they're looking at things outside the charts saying, I think there's going to be a massive pullback, 50% dip. And I completely agree with them. I see a massive amount of money flowing out of Bitcoin. I just see a lot of money flowing into it first. And then we have that big pullback. If they're right and I'm wrong, good for them. Here's what I will say though. And I'm really not trying to like to spew their names, because again, I want both of those people to come on our channel. I want them to explain their points. I want to learn from them. They are brilliant. But didn't both of them say we weren't getting above 25.2? And then didn't both of them say we weren't getting above 30,000? So we've seen them be wrong twice. But they could be right. We could go down to 10,000. They might not be wrong yet. We won't know until probably 2025, honestly, if they're right or wrong. I just don't agree with them. I don't think that's the right way. T-Shirt, you have a thought?
Well, Tim is definitely back. Love it. Love that the internet is working with us. Thank you guys for staying tuned and bearing through our technical difficulty with the internet there. I actually have some Bitcoin TA I wanted to share. Wanted to get you and Piper's view on this before we get into the market open. So go over to my screen there, Piper, and I want to take you guys on a journey. So essentially, you can see all this consolidation back here, verified by the fixed VPVR here. Fixed range VPVR. If I go from this consolidation to the next consolidation, and I'll go ahead and be generous, give it 50%, right? Around here, the top of the consolidation, really the mean is probably going to be more around in here at 40, 43, 45. But let's say 50. Okay, so 50 is the number. If you go back to this consolidation right here, and then go to the next consolidation's high, then you get 25% roughly, and that's being generous. So roughly cut in half the consolidation to consolidation run-ups, right? Now, from consolidation to the high we're at right now, it's only like 9. Yeah, it's only 9%. So another halving of that run-up, if you continue with this pattern, would be 12.5 is half of 25, right? So it would be about 31.6, or actually going back to 12.5, be like more 31.500, let's call it. Right. So that's where a short-term target could be. I kind of want to get you and Piper's thoughts on that. Is that even something worth looking at in terms of like how the new consolidation highs are cutting in half in terms of how much they're accelerating in price?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. They're doing that, and the momentum is a little bit slowing down. It's a fair value, but we also don't know yet what this next one's going to do. This other one, again, I think there's a lot of people kind of sitting on the fence about that 30K, because kind of what we were just talking about, we have had analysts saying, hey, worst case scenario, we're getting the 30K, and that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're seeing people kind of still wait to decide. Also, you see whales kind of say, hey, let's kind of feel this out. We think there's gonna be a nice rally here, but we want to gobble as much of this as possible. So if they have a lot of money and they know that they can get the price up to 50K, that's where it should be going, they want to accumulate as much as possible so that they can take as much profit as possible. Something that we should look at here, and I think you're making a good point, but go to my screen real quick, looking at Chart Prime on the weekly chart, we have a big order block. Now, this is a fat order block starting at 42K up to about 47, but there's a massive order block up here ready to be gobbled up.
That order block is thick.
Yeah. Are we going to wait for that bull market? Could, but they also could just go ahead and fill that right now. And again, come back down to 25.2 and gobble up even more. There's a lot of things here that kind of factor in. And I think T-Shim, you're on a great spot looking at that and saying, hey, the momentums of these waves are slowing down a little bit, but it also could just be waiting for the exact catalyst to really make it here. Let's watch to see what happens with this next wave. And I'm going to say 32K, obviously a lot of people are going to probably watch 32K as the next spot. To me, I think the next spot to watch is 36. I think with our confident breakout above 30,000 with volume, I know it's not crazy amount of volume, but this is something I didn't get to say either, which by the way, I have to get on a soapbox really quickly. Freaking TradingView keeps ruining everything. First they take away our log button,
which you can't see behind you, behind your little square at the bottom.
Can you move my face, Piper, so that people can go with me? It's right here. I guess, do I need to zoom in right here? Can I zoom in right there? I don't think I can.
I think we get it. We get it.
Well, I just ruined my screen again. What the heck? Okay. Well, guess what?
Control Z.
I think it's time for the market.
Control Z.
It's not doing anything for me. Anyway, they took away the log chart, and they now took away the auto
button.
So you have to come in here and do this to fix this. So I'm very pissed at them, very, very upset with them. But look at the volume. When we made this press through the other day, when we broke through, this line can keep coming extended. Look at the volume that we did it with. Look at how everything was dead for so long. And then when we made the push to break resistance, big volume came in. We got big volume coming in this morning as well. This is a good sign to me, because remember, people were talking about how, hey, watch out. We have liquidity problem. We're not gonna be able to go any higher because there's no liquidity. Well, guess what? We got volume coming in. We got liquidity. There's stuff happening here. It's not the doom and gloom that people thought.
Yeah.
So good.
I think we're gonna probably have to cut into the Q&A time today pretty heavy, but let's go ahead and get into our market open and cover this pretty quickly. I'll go fast through this. I mean, there's nothing too terrible to see here. Our indexes are off to a pretty modest start. The Dow and the S&P are leading. The Dow is up 0.4%, S&P up 0.2%, and the NASDAQ is actually red in the first 10 minutes here of the market open. 20 minutes of the market open. So that is going to be pretty, overall just rotation out of risk, but only moderately. There's not really much to conclude there. Red on the screen for crypto, except AVAX clinging to that green status, up 0.6. We may get into a story about AVAX. I don't know if we'll have time. Silver has been crushing it. And this is what I was actually about to check a silver chart before the internet went out. But silver has been absolutely on a tear, and it's up 0.3 this morning. So really, really good news if you're a silver holder. And gold not up as much, has been getting sold more than bought as related to silver. So back to the market open here, though. Your mega cap tech stocks are kind of mixed here on the day, with Amazon trailing. Oh, and Apple can't figure out if it wants to be green or red. But Tesla is going to be a big story here. We'll get into. I'm actually surprised it's only up 0.7%, but there's a very big breaking news story that we'll get into here in just a second. We'll whistle on past the yields for now. Dixie's down 0.4%, and I'll go ahead and pretty much call it there. There's not much else really jumping out at me. C3.ai is getting sold a little bit today. That I was actually curious, and Coin is getting sold a little bit. So you wanted to see probably C3.ai trying to make some ground back up to this midline here, this order buying block, the order block, but it's not. It's making a move down, probably more towards a dynamic reactor. Oh, my chart prime indicators are working again. That's good. All right, so let's go to our stories here. Before we do, very briefly, guys, consensus is coming up. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you want to get them now. Go into the description of our video and you can see a link to that. You get 15% off when you use the keyword bros. The code bros is going to get you 15% off those tickets. And you want to act fast, guys, because in only 14 hours, the price of those tickets are going to go up in general. So act quickly and you'll be able to see some bros there at that event. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so let's go ahead and get into the stories here, guys. The big breaking news, it's not crypto specific, but the EPA proposes auto pollution limits to aggressively boost electronic vehicle sales. So this is disproportionately going to benefit the EVs. Let's get into the details. We'll do this briefly. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency proposed new tailpipe emissions limits that could require as much as 67% of all new vehicles sold in the U.S. by 2032 to be all electric. Let that sink in. This is big, guys, because currently right now, EV sales account for only 5.8 of all the 13.8 million new vehicles sold in the country last year, an increase from 3.1 the year before, according to Kelley Blue Book. So this is insane. We're gonna try to go from 5.8. Now this is increasing about, call it 2% a year, but we're gonna try to go from 5.8 to 67 in less than 10 years. So we'll see, Joe. And of course, you get a nice little image there of Joe Biden driving an electric vehicle. A lot of fun there. But this may be news to Joe, but it's not guaranteed that an opposing party couldn't get into the White House and just flip these policies, because the EPA is not. I don't think it's an extension of Congress. I think it's an extension of the executive branch. I might be wrong on that. I'm not sure. But these are definitely very flippable policies. And if a Republican was to get in, a Republican that isn't super ecological friendly, environmentally friendly, then this would absolutely be flipped, because the automaker industry is gigantic. Not a personal thought on that. I'm not educated enough to know about the environment to really make a comment on that. But I am educated on crypto, so let's get back into that. Bitcoin dominance jumps to its highest point in almost 2 years, tracking crypto price higher. Just going to read the headline on that one, guys. We've talked about it enough this week. And then the countdown to Ethereum, only 8 hours away. 8 hours and 33 minutes. Your Shanghai update is going to come in. Let's get a little bit of information on that. We've been covering it a little bit. Let's see what CoinDesk is trying to inform us on this morning. The Shanghai upgrade will be remembered as a uniquely bullish event for Ether, the world's second largest cryptocurrency by market value. Over a longer time horizon, Ethereum's total switch to proof of stake is likely to only benefit the network and ETH's price, enough to possibly dethrone Bitcoin as the world's largest cryptocurrency by market cap. Amphibian Capital takes this logic further and predicts that ETH may reign supreme as one of the world's top 3 most valuable assets in the next decade. I've got some more data here in just a second to show you why this might be a statement you actually agree with. First, the Shanghai upgrade will enable users to participate in Ethereum's validation process through the implementation of the beacon chain mechanism, making staking more accessible and efficient. And you know the rest, guys. That's going to be happening here in just about 8 hours. Piper sent me this to bring to you guys' attention. According to Glassnode, only 1% of the staked ETH will be sold after unstaking is allowed later today with the Shanghai upgrade. The crypto analytics company estimates that around 100K ETH will be unstaked and 70K ETH staking rewards will be claimed. And then K33 Research recently estimated that over 1 million ETH could be unstaked, underscoring the uncertainty around the upgrade. So getting a little bit of, conflicting data there, but overall, the conclusion is this is not going to be a bearish event. Some people were thinking, but the data is showing it's not going to be all that bearish. And now we've got a couple headlines I just wanted to go through really quickly. But this is big news. So I want to throw it to Piper and then I want to throw it to Tim. Piper, kind of what are your thoughts on the upgrade? We talked about it a decent amount yesterday, but what is kind of your thoughts? Are you bullish or bearish? And we'll make this quick, guys, because we got a good amount more to go here.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot I think a lot of people are going to unstake just because they want that freedom. It's been locked for a long time. I don't think a lot of people are going to sell, though. I think we're going to see what we will see is we will see a lot of unstaking, like it said in that snapshot you gave there, because it wasn't really conflicting. It was how less than 1% are going to sell, but 1 million people will unstake, and that's 2 different things.
Oh,
so
sure.
yeah. So looking at the unstaking, I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are going to unstake. The people that stay in staking, their percentage is going to go up more because there's less people in, and the less there is in the staking, the higher their percentage is to entice other people to come back in the staking. I think when people see that the staking yield is kicking up in the 10% range plus, I think a lot of people will come back into staking knowing that it's not locked forever now. So I think a lot of people will pull it out immediately at first, and then they're going to go back into it. So
okay, yeah, I like it. Yep. Tim, what are you tracking on the Shanghai update? What are your thoughts on it?
So I'm going to stick with what I've been saying for a long time. So it's just now flipping where the public persona or thought is that it's going to be bullish. People have been saying this to me bearish for a while, and I've been saying I don't agree. I think that some people might have say like, oh, finally I can unlock my staking, I can get out of this and take my money and go. But I think this is going to be a confirmation or something that's going to help people feel more comfortable going in and staking. So you said 1 million people might unstake. Well, what if 2 million end up joining and start staking? Because now they don't have to worry about, oh, if I stake my Ethereum, but then for some reason I need to withdraw it, it's locked up. No, now I can go in and stake Ethereum. And then if a month later I decide, I need to move some of this, I can go in and unstake it. No problem. That's a bullish thing for Ethereum. I've been saying this for a while. Caleb Franzen, I know he was in chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but he kind of put a tweet out about this a couple days ago where he pretty much said a lot of times you hear buy the rumor, sell the news. But in this case, everyone's been selling the rumor. Everyone's been like, oh, this is a bad thing. Oh, no, people are going to run off with their stakes. He's like, is this a sell the rumor, buy the news type event? The exact opposite. So I'm in complete agreement there. I think that now that it's here, people are kind of loosening up. Do not be surprised that there's going to be volatility. I think volatility is the thing to think about. Before we can really commit to is this long-term bullish or bearish, just ride out the volatility. But my opinion is long-term, this is a bullish move. And I think that especially with Bitcoin, going to probably be more rallying here. I think watch Ethereum and Bitcoin dominance start to climb versus other altcoins over the next month or so.
Okay. Okay, I like it. I like it. Guys, go ahead and like this video if you're deriving some value on kind of the way that we're seeing things here. I want to read a couple more headlines and make you guys understand a couple of different things. But taking a look here, Binance US to delist Justin Sun's Tron token next week. This is actually pretty big, guys. 3 weeks after the SEC accused Justin Sun of manipulating the price of TRX, that's the Tron token, Binance US said it will delist the asset. So make sure you're distinguishing Binance US from Binance. That is a big difference, but this is big. I mean, Binance US is a huge portal for folks to buy and sell Tron tokens. So this is something you want to keep your eye on, especially if you're a big TRX holder on Binance.us. All right, getting into, I know I always say I'm going to just read the headline. The U.S. is losing its edge in crypto, says Andreessen Horowitz in a new report that is something you can't miss, guys. I put it in our Discord under research, and it's the state of crypto in 2023. Why should you care about this? Well, A16Z is a very, very successful and profitable venture capitalist group led by Andreessen Horowitz, who is an extremely well-respected investor and VC capitalist. So this is their view. This is their summary. And this is pretty bullish, but take a look. So Web3 is more than a financial movement. It's an evolution of the internet. Blockchains are more than ledgers. They are computers. And crypto isn't just a new financial system. It's a new computing platform. So these guys get it. They're betting big. They have a very big crypto portfolio. Not just coins, but also equity in the companies that they are interested in and think are the future of finance, the future of the internet, the future of computing, ledgers, and all the rest. So very exciting news to see that Andreessen is still pretty bullish on crypto and issuing reports on this. So definitely go read that report. It is in the research channel, which I think is a free channel on our Discord. So go ahead and take a look at that. And then our final story here, Warren Buffett says we're not through the banking failure. So I got some important quotes here. Guys, Warren is not somebody you want to ignore. He's not pro-crypto, but he's not somebody you want to ignore. We're not over the bank failures, but depositors haven't had a crisis. That's his first quote here. He also said the costs of the FDIC are borne by banks. Banks have never cost the federal government a dime. The public doesn't understand that, said Buffett. Nobody is going to lose money on a deposit in a U.S. bank. It's not going to happen. You don't need to turn a dumb decision by managers into a panicking the whole citizenry of the United States about something they don't need to be panicked about. So kind of taking the establishment position there, defending the banks and defending kind of that very close relationship between the banks and the U.S. there. Don't know if I agree with Warren on this one. I think that he's kind of getting it wrong here. He's kind of whistling past the graveyard here to make a statement that, yeah, it definitely brings a little bit of certainty, a little bit of comfort maybe to investors. But the problem is that this is a broken system, and he doesn't really kind of mention that. He just says, just trust the system. Everything will be okay. So that's going to round out our stories, things that we wanted to bring to your attention. But guys, that freaking EPS story, man, they're trying to get to 67 by 2032. That is pretty wild. So, but that's the end of the stories. I guess we can go ahead and get into the Q&A unless you guys had any thoughts or explosions on any of these things that I brought to your attention today, or comments. Are there any chats or anything, folks commenting that were interesting?
Yeah, I'm looking to see what people thought. I think you wrapped up the stories there pretty nicely. I think it's something to definitely note that, I think some people are going to say with Joe Biden and the White House administration kind of admitting and saying, hey guys, we're probably going to still see some more bank failures, and Warren Buffett now saying, some people are going to flip flop and be like, oh, okay, now that they're saying there's bank failures, that gives me, feeling that there is going to be, everything's going to be all right and banks are going to be fine. That's not the way you should think about this. There are times where people will say the wrong thing because they have an ulterior motive going on. You got to kind of ask yourself, what does Biden and Warren Buffett have to gain from saying that banks are going to go down? They like the traditional finance system. They like how things are working. They want it to go well. They're actually just responding in fear. The truth is it could be a lot worse, and they're just trying to soften the blow because they know something massive is coming. But it looks better if you just get out ahead of it, and then maybe it's not as bad, and they can say, oh, we fixed the problem. I think bank failures are still coming, but I told you guys, I'm not going to be surprised if we see crypto failures come. If we see another coin, maybe not a top 10 coin, but maybe a top 50 coin, just have something really bad happen. We have an exchange. Again, I'm not talking about Binance or Coinbase or anything else, but we have some exchange out there that people like that starts to have some liquidity issues, starts to have some problems. They have to shut down. I do think that there's a lot of pain ahead of us for this next year, but it's going to be both the traditional finance world and the crypto world. And it's going to be this little teetering, seesaw type of emotions and the price action that's going to take us into the real bull market here soon. Whales will be ready to go at the end of this year, and crypto is going to just take off, and it's going to be awesome. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on all that. Piper, do you have a thought on that? Or
no, I think it's actually going to be regulation that causes the biggest problems over the next couple of years in crypto. I don't think it's going to be. I think everything's been pretty shaken out pretty good. And if we did have something fall, I think it's going to be something that's not going to have. It's not going to be big enough to be an impact. It's going to be a pebble in the ocean, if you will. I think, but regulation, that's a comet in the ocean. So,
a lot of people think that regulation is going to be very positive, but I mean, you'd have to assume
the initial shock, though. I think the initial shock of it's going to hit hard. So,
right, that makes sense.
Yeah, well, I think what it's even worse is it's going to be all the talk leading up to what the regulation is going to be really rough sounding. It's going to sound really harsh. And then it's not going to be as bad as what we thought. And I keep going back and forth on this one too, though. Another thing to think about, especially when it comes to Bitcoin, this isn't as good for cryptocurrencies like altcoins and stuff. But there's just, as long as there is not an all-out ban on Bitcoin, which is not going to happen, Bitcoin's going to prevail. Bitcoin is going to win the day. Bitcoin is going to be seen by many as a great place to go store their value. It will become, first it'll be transitioned to be one of the things that is called digital gold. People will actually start putting their value there instead of gold and other places. I think some people will still put their money in gold, but Bitcoin will become the place to go store your value. But then watch as it kind of just gets into the whole system, disrupts it from the inside, and shows all the flaws with centralized currencies, centralized authorities and stuff. And then we're able to actually get power back. So it's a matter of time. And it's almost like one of those things like, there's pain ahead, but like there's victories ahead too. Like we are going to have we're going to have some good stuff happening. The question is what has to come before that, and what does it take? So, yeah, let's get into some questions here. I did see Harp said, Army, take a look at Near. Like to hear what you are seeing. So we can definitely do that. While you're doing that though, I did want to say there's a big thing that happened. I saw this morning, and some of you might have seen as well. Our friend Jeb had their child. Him and his wife Sarah, they had their child, I think, last night. So congratulations to him. Of course, they're already parents. They have little Malachi, but this is going to be Jeb's first biological child. I know he's over the moon. Very happy for them. Of course, my wife and I are not far behind, so very excited, and congratulations. Make sure you guys go show him love. I know he's not streaming today, obviously, but go show him love and support. So, yeah, are you ready for the Near TA, Army?
Of course I am. I'm always ready for TA.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, so taking a look at Near here. I'm looking on a 12-hour chart. This is Near USD on Binance right now. A couple of things that I'm noticing here on the charts is that, first off, we have a nice little pump-up candle going on the 12-hour right now, coming off of, and I do have some fibs on here, so let me show you these fibs first, and let me turn off the Smart Money Concepts bundle here. So these fibs right now are coming from this upper high to the lowest low here, and we had some rejection definitively on the golden pocket here, going back as far as January and then running all the way into February before we rejected out of that. So if we take a look at where we came down to the 236, found support, rejection on the dynamic reactor from Chart Prime. This is our first time getting back above that dynamic reactor since 2 March. So a lot of time underneath there, anytime we're above this and it turns green, very bullish thing to see. The oscillator ribbon does look like it still has some upside to go, and definitively on the MACD, we are seeing a run up on the histogram. Look at the curvature away from the signal line on that MACD line. I'm actually going to bring that up in because you don't always see it flip like this, guys. Let me take off this white line so you can see what happened here, and check this out. When we have these pull away like this so hard from the signal line, a lot of times it can be a while before we come back to it. Like for example, right here, it looked like it was going to cross. It pulled away. And if you go and we take a look at what this price action did during this time, went up from that point to where we are now. So the fact that we're now getting another pull up away from it there, I could see us coming back up, coming past the 50% line here, getting a retest on that, hitting up into the golden pocket, and giving this another chance to try to do what it has not been able to do before. So that's what I'm seeing there on the fibs. Let me go ahead and pull up the Smart Money Concept Bundle here, and I'll show you what I'm seeing on this. Let me drop that fib off. Bye, fib. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have here. We are on this gold trade band right here, and that is going to be the lower trade band. The trade bands typically trade in between the top one and the bottom one, and that top one's going to be all the way up here. There we go. So yeah, we're like in the bottom of the trade band. So we still have definitely, according to the predictive ranges, a long way that we can go up also. However, we do have a major 4-hour resistance right here coming in off of the multi-time frame greatest support resistance. Even though I'm on a 12-hour, I can see this 4-hour resistance line coming in right here at 2.75. So let's see if we can get up to there. Where is that fib retracement going to fall out of there? Just above the golden pocket. So I could see that being a rejection back in here. Now we get our test off of that resistance, come up, and then we contend with the platinum pocket up here about $2.96 to $3. So that's what I'm seeing on near. Not looking bad at all in my opinion. I think we do have some good upside that can run in that. One last thing to show is that we do have this broadening wedge on the 12-hour, and you can see here that on this broadening wedge, I don't think we're going to come down this far. Not going to set a new low, but we could definitely bounce off of this support here at $1.58, maybe even not even come down that far and just retest this golden band before we come back up. But if you look where that's coming at, we got another resistance line coming in right there on that broadening wedge, and that might be where we bounce down to retest there and to come up. So that's what I'm seeing on near. I hope that helped you out, man. Thanks for that request.
Yeah, out of curiosity, Piper, is our Wi-Fi working? There's some funky stuff going on our screen. Is our Wi-Fi pretty jacked up?
No, you look good.
Okay. I saw someone comment about lag, so I didn't know if stuff that I was doing there.
There's a little bit on
Cox Internet is not necessarily known as the greatest internet in the world, and definitely not here in Gainesville.
Right, but
so they're having a rough morning.
But if they're seeing lag, it would be from my end, and I think my internet's being a little bit off today, anyways. So
it's just not a strong internet day.
Oh,
a lot of bearish divergence on the internet today, unfortunately.
Someone asked for Solana. Murali Agani asked for Solana. You want to take a look at Solana there real fast, Tim?
Yeah, I was looking at that chart real quick. You can go share my screen. We broke out of a rising wedge pattern here. I'm on the 4-hour chart. We broke back down here. Let me turn on some of this stuff though here with our chart prime indicators. Let me take down order blocks though, especially on these lower time frames. I'll take a look at some other stuff there. But on this 4-hour chart, so here's something that I am a little bit skeptical on Solana right here. We got to wait to see how this finishes playing out, but we've been trading sideways on Solana, not rallying up like we have with some other coins. So when we get this overbought, this double flash, overbought, oversold, overbought and red triangle, that's not a great sign for Solana. It's not necessarily responding to it. It's got a little bit green today, but Solana, that's not a good sign we're starting off with. On this 4-hour chart, though, we are sitting kind of on the lower end, as Piper was just talking about, looking at these two gold bands, the higher and lower. We like to stay above. Of course, Solana dipped a little bit below it, used as resistance, but then got back up in there, got back up into the range. We're kind of now looking at our resistance level has been the delta line here at $27.32. So if we can make a break and get above that 27.2, maybe are we ignoring this this predicted reversal down with the overbought red triangle? That's not a great sign to me. We have that, even though we've rallied up a little bit here. I want to see. Let me even go to a higher time frame. Let's go to the 12-hour chart.
That's what I was going to say. Take a look at the 12-hour. It's still
not a great start. We're below that lower gold band with. We're flashing overbought. Don't have the second signal just yet. Don't have a preferred reversal down. But the fact that we're getting right there, I'm just going to start off by saying this is not looking like the best chart. The volume in here is nice. I will say, looking at traditional TA, the volume is nice. Breaking above the 12-hour dynamic reactor is nice. Let's take a look at one of my favorite things, though, to go look at. Let's go out to the daily chart, and I'm going to take down my predictive ranges. This is one of the cool things about Sharp Prime when you buy it is you can really get in here and tailor it and make it whatever you want. So Piper might not like this, but I have found a lot of success with this setting right here when I'm in my Smart Money concept bundle. This multi-time frame support and resistance. So what?
I'm going to fight you.
Yeah, we'll fight later. I love this setting. I love doing a 12-hour local mode. So that's right there. I like 5 of them. And I turn both lines green. That's just my preference. I think default is green and red. I just make all the green. I like the 4-hour extended, and I like the daily extended. I like these lines. They've worked very well for me using other coins. And what I'm looking for is bunches right here. So technically speaking, here we go. We got a nice little bounce off of this bunch right here. That is both the 12-hour and the 4-hour chart. These were very, very strong levels of support. We used to support and we bounced up. The next bunch you're looking up here is up here at $26.25. Like we kind of discussed the 27 level here just a little bit ago. But so that's saying there's a potential rally right there. The fact though, here's what I'll say. This is both a good and bad thing, and I'm not quite sure how I want to use this. We do have bullish divergence, technically hidden bullish divergence on this daily chart, but we got a lot of support below us, or we have a little bit of support below us, a lot of resistance above us. This is a good thing because this means that Solana is on a more macro timeline, more oversold right now than it overbought, which means it could have a bigger rally. However, I told you guys I don't think altcoins are going to see them have a nice season. The other thing is, are we just this low because there's just a lack of confidence in there, in Solana? And whereas I don't know everything about every single altcoin out there, and I'm not going to pretend that I know everything there is to know about Solana. We all know Solana's had some rough FUD here recently, not fake FUD, real FUD. With everything that happened with FTX, with everything that's happened with their crashing, yes, they were a fast ecosystem, but everything that was going bad for them went bad, and everything that was going good for them went bad. They lost 90+% of their developers. Clearly, there's still a strong community in Solana that likes it and wants to see it go further. But I'm looking at this and saying, in Solana's case, instead of saying, oh, look at how much room to the upside we have, you got to sit there and question, why aren't we moving to the upside? Is there anything really going there? I mean, even just looking at how quickly this isn't a massive rally and our ribbons on the daily chart are just climbing very fast. It's almost like the tiniest move feels like the biggest thing in the world to the mathematics here, the money flow on it, and it's not really moving. I think Solana, a dead project isn't the right way to put it, but I'm still very skeptical if we'll ever see a new all-time high on Solana from a fundamental standpoint. And then I'm looking at these charts and I'm saying, like, if I don't know anything about it, I might be a little bullish on it. Again, I didn't like what I saw on the 4-hour chart, but I'm looking at this chart, I might be a little bullish saying, hey, look, when I'm using these multi-time frames, we have a lot of room we could move to the upside. But when I know the fundamentals of Solana, I know some of the problems they have. I'm very skeptical right now. I don't think Solana. Like, if you want to put some money in Solana, like you're gonna throw away in the trash, and if it goes crazy, that's awesome. Do it. But if your thought is, man, Solana's a safe bet, I'm gonna invest in Solana. I'm sorry, it's just not. T-Shim, you ever thought on that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. Like 99% on that. From a fundamental standpoint, Solana has only disappointed with the downtime. The type of deals that they make are very short term, very short, surface level looking, focused. But what I will say is that they are the only ones releasing a phone. And today, I believe, is the day that they're coming out, or they're releasing like the pre-order list or whatever. There's some kind of milestone that they're passing today. And I've said it before. I said it on Around the Blockchain. I've said it on the show yesterday. I feel like this phone release could be kind of a sleeper because this hasn't been done before, and it's hardware. It's very tangible. And what do a lot of boomers not like about crypto is not tangible. So I think a crypto company coming out with something tangible. Guys, I know miners are tangible. I get it. But like, if coming out with a phone, something that people can put in their hand, it could be a big breakthrough. And also the other side of that narrative is that it could also force Apple and Android to adopt some of the tradable tokens that you can mint your own NFTs on it. You can game on chain. You can access dApps on it. And it's Web3 in your pocket. That's what they're marketing themselves as. And of course, Apple and Android aren't going to leap to adopt all of that overnight, right? But play it out over a year or 2 or 3 years, certainly, they're going to, Apple and Android are absolutely going to prioritize those type of features if the market is adopting them. So it's almost like I would buy this phone. It's $1,000. I'm not going to buy it, but I would buy this phone just to put pressure on Apple and Android to say, hey, I demand these features. I demand this product. That's putting your money where your mouth is. That's how, you democratize capitalism. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. I mean,
I think you're making a good point, Shroom, but I think that you're underestimating the lack of trust in Solana. They have a small community now that still trusts them. Is that enough to make any type of pressure there? The other thing I would say is that, like, hey, great, they're making a phone, but like, just because they're the first to something, like, first isn't always the biggest thing. Like, it's nice to be first. If you do a good job, it's first. But sometimes you just do first and you don't do a great job with it, and then someone else that's way more capable and has way better brand recognition and trust in them, they're going to come out and say, all right, we'll do the same thing, and then yours is crushed. Again, I'm not saying that I'm closing the doors and nailing the coffin on Solana's existence, but I think that there's just been so much hurt there, and it's just one of those things. It's like there's so much more downside of fear of what could go wrong than upside for what could go right when it comes to Solana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and look, I agree with that overall. I'm just saying, don't be surprised if this phone takes off in a way that people didn't anticipate or has an impact. I don't think it's going to take off. I think it's going to have an impact on our industry in a way that we didn't anticipate.
I'm curious. I'm curious. Who here? Let me see in chat. Put a 1 if you would try it. Put a 2 if you're like, there's just no way I trust it. If you put a 1 if you would consider buying a Solana phone. Put a 2 if you're like, never. I can't do it. I just cannot trust them.
Being the fact that I use my phone as much as I do for trades and for work and messages and phone calls and emergency services, I would be worried that my Solana phone is going to have as many outages as the Solana network itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So maybe it's like, maybe my point is like almost invalidated because they're seen as an incompetent operator. So that's it's not going to have the effect. And it really should be somebody like Cardano or Ripple Labs or, another.
Do you know how big that would be if Cardano made a phone?
Yeah.
With how big the community is.
But they would never do that because it signals that they're not focused. So it's kind of like it's a snake eating itself. It's like, it's not going to, it sucks.
Maybe.
I mean, Ethereum, I think, would be better positioned to do it.
The Ethereum phone would be huge.
A Binance phone, maybe not.
Yeah, but every time I make a phone call, it would cost me $100 on Ethereum. So.
Oh my goodness. Whoa.
How about a Polygon Matic phone? How about a Polygon Matic?
There you go.
A Matic
there you
phone?
go. Yeah, that's
we're
solid.
talking.
That's solid. Micah asked earlier, this is a little change of subject. Micah said, Investing Bros, do you feel I Trust Capital is safe? If so, what 3 coins outside of Bitcoin, Ethereum, 88, and Matic would you invest in? I've seen that question before. I don't think that was on our channel, though. I think I was watching a different channel, and someone asked a very, very similar question.
Well, you know why? Because you just said their name, and that comment is probably not from somebody who's just a viewer. They're probably interested in a certain corporation's benefit.
Well, here's what I'll say. I mean, I like I Trust Capital. I Trust Capital is good.
Do you?
Yeah,
that's great. Is there a link in the description that people could click on? Unfortunately, no.
There's not. I would say that's like a transition.
No, I agree. I haven't heard anything bad about it.
No, the good thing about it is, like, even the way they do everything, like, because when people really worry about Coinbase, because they do use Coinbase wallets to store, it's separated. So if Coinbase were to crash and burn, that does not affect your iTrust Capital whatsoever. Obviously, it's brilliant because it's the concept of being able to put that money away for long term, not pay capital gains on it whatsoever, save that for your retirement, which is awesome. So I would say yes, that is there. You know what? I saw this question because someone else mentioned it. They had to go up and look at what there's there. When you say what coins would you put there other than Bitcoin, Ethereum, 88, Matic, you just literally wiped out like 50% of my current portfolio. So I'm like, what would I put there? I don't know what I'm allowed to put in iTrust Capital. At the moment, I only have Bitcoin in an iTrust Capital, to be honest with you guys. But that has way more to do with I'm not too much of a degen going too far away, and not as much with Tim's done a bunch of research and he thinks only Bitcoin is good. So I can't answer the back half of that question. Piper, do you know anything? Would you have an answer to the back half of that question? You are muted.
I said, I'm just trying to get it to stay up here on the screen. So taking a look here, let's see. Bitcoin, ETH, ADA, Matic, what would I invest in? So some of the things that I'm watching on there, I'm looking at Link because Link is one of those things that it just moves opposite. So when everything else moves, you take a little bit of profit. Link moves afterwards and gives you some of that uptick when everything else is static, right? I'm also looking at obviously XRP. Even though it's hard to buy in the U.S., there are some ways. So yeah, I'm definitely bullish on XRP, especially if they win their SEC case.
Out of curiosity, because someone in chat verify, can you store XRP in an iTrust Capital wallet? Because I don't know.
Don't know that you can.
I say, especially with the fact that they're storing it in a Coinbase wallet. No, don't get me wrong. I think it's not that long before Coinbase once again allows you to do that. I think that lawsuit is coming to close, but
I think it's only fair that I mean, I like that the question is narrowly asking. I mean, this is, guys, I think the chances are very high that this is a paid question, and if it's not, that's okay. But this is just for the sake of, because they're not our sponsor. There are a lot of competitors in this industry: Bitcoin IRA, Alto Crypto IRA, iTrust Capital, Bit IRA, TradeStation, Coin IRA, and Fidelity. So Fidelity is a giant name in this industry, and they have a tool called Fidelity Crypto that you can put crypto into a 401k or an IRA, and so you want to check that out as well. But look, is there anything negative to say about iTrust Capital? Not really. I think they're good operators. They're just not our sponsor, so we're not like fully endorsing them or recommending them necessarily.
I mean, however, if you are from iTrust Capital and you're looking for us to sponsor you, please contact Investing Bros.
The Investing Bros.
Well, I can tell you right now, like that's probably one we need to just reach out and get. I think we could get that. We have a relationship.
Yeah, because it's Digital Asset News. Rob from Digital Asset News uses iTrust and he loves it. So,
but being completely transparent with everybody, like, because this is something we want to be in the future. We will never take an affiliate link or a sponsorship from a company we don't think is good. So being transparent with you guys, but we're not making a single dime off of saying this, or I'm not going. I don't know what T-Shroom's thoughts is. I'm not going to speak for Piper and T-Shroom. Tim Warren likes iTrust Capital. He thinks it's very good. He thinks it's a great place to store your money, and I don't get any money for that.
Tim Warren, just as a dog owner, he likes iTrust Capital.
It's true. It's true.
And even though there's a cap on, I think it's like 10,000 a year, something like that.
I think it depends on what the thing. There's some things that go back. I think it's 6,000. I think 6,000.
6,000. Yeah, maybe it's 6,000.
Yeah.
So, but you can open one for yourself, one for your wife, one for your kid.
Yep.
Like,
yes,
when that baby Tim's born, that's gonna iTrust Capital for him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One for your LLC. Just kidding. You can't do that.
Little investing wisdom there from the Investing Bros. So there you go.
And the cool thing about it too is, like, this one of the questions that I had for them when I was setting my account is, like, obviously it's supposed to be there for a long time, but let's say something goes wrong in your life and you need to get in there and liquidate it's not going to cost you extra. You just have to pay whatever. If it's less than a year, you have to pay the short-term capital gains. If it's a little over, if it's a couple of years, you have to pay long-term capital gains. But if you leave it in there for a long time, I can't remember the exact. I don't remember if it's years or if it's a time period. Then when you get to remove it, you remove it tax-free. You get 100% of it. So it is awesome. So again, we don't get $1 from that, but I highly recommend iTrust Capital. Maybe we recommend you wait like a week or two until we can reach out to iTrust Capital and potentially get an affiliate link for you.
Yeah.
And sometimes with those affiliate links, you get a discount too. So
let's do that.
Maybe you want to wait a little bit, and then we'll get you set up.
Hey, Tim, before we head out of here, I do want to remind people that today we have TA Talk on the Chart Prime Discord for the Investing Bros Patreon members and for the Chart Prime Premium members. So TA Talk, Tim and I are going to be on there. We're bringing on Drew Wolfer today. He's going to be in there talking about some pre-send, some ways to protect your money your crypto when you send it on wallet to wallet. So he's going to be in there talking. We're going to talk a little bit of TA talk, a little bit of dialogue exchange about some stories and see. Because I know that Drew is a old school trader, so let's see if he's got any of those classic mistakes that we made, Tim. So
it'll be nice. It'll be nice. Yeah, well, it's a little bit early, but I think we could probably go ahead and wrap out the show here. We have a conclusion here. T-Shroom, anything you want to say to the people before we close out?
I would just say to take some time to study yourself, get to know yourself and what your interests and your hobbies are. I've been taking a lot of time to get into cooking. I actually made for the first time yesterday some pulled pork. And it's a lot easier than you might think. And I wouldn't have been able to do it without Piper. Piper really encouraged me. He got me out of
Come
kind
on.
of the mental block that I had about getting over that hump to be able to get in there and actually get in the kitchen and make that pulled pork.
Nice.
And, it was really delicious.
You know,
Amanda and I had some pulled pork sandwiches. And just to wrap this out, get in the kitchen, get out on the sports field, get into the craft store, figure out what your passion is and pursue it. You'll be glad you did.
You know, I want to write a recipe book, right?
Really?
Yeah, because I do a lot of cooking in the kitchen, and it's therapeutic. So I don't know if you guys know or not, but I am diagnosed and deal with PTSD, so I call it kitchen therapy because there's a lot of control mechanisms with the reward at the end, right? And so it's therapeutic. Yeah. So I want to do a book called Kitchen Therapy and Other Recipes for PTSD, and get a bunch of veterans to write in recipes to put into it. So that's one of the things I want to do.
I don't know if you're still open for title ideas, but what about a sergeant's whisk or something like that, like a whisk and a prayer?
Because it's kitchen therapy. It's kitchen therapy. But I would be open to have that discussion about a title with a fellow brother in arms over there. So
what I will say is that and I'm being serious about this, being in the kitchen and cooking and chopping up onions and chopping up peppers and feeling the heat from the stove and the grill is therapeutic. And I am not kidding. It really is something I look forward to. And you know how your mind reels as you're trying to fall asleep? That is one thing that I've found is think about what you're going to cook for dinner the next day as you're trying to fall asleep. And boom, you just hit right next. You just go right to sleep, and you've already kind of mentally prepped for the next day's dinner.
Listen, awesome. TJ, have you ever had one of my mean peanut butter and jelly sandwiches?
I have not.
Dude.
You make a good steak. You grill a good steak. Don't sell yourself short.
I do good.
Just because you have crap internet doesn't mean you can't grill a great steak.
You know who makes the best PB&J though? The blockchain.
The blockchain does. Yeah. Speaking of the blockchain and the PB&J coin, again, make sure Crypto Trades just put it in there in the chat. But if you guys want to hear more about my business trip, you guys are definitely going to want to be in that Patreon. Check out the link down below. Gold and Diamond members have twice a week bro times in our Discord.
There's no time like bro time.
I'll be filling you guys in tomorrow at 3 o'clock, and then I'll make an announcement on Friday because we have something really, really exciting coming. But you're going to have to wait just a little bit longer to hear it. Love all of you guys. It is a pleasure to be back. Thank you for joining us this morning. If you have not already, smash that like button on your way out. And we will see all of you again tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. You guys are watching The Investing Bros, the most generous crypto community in all of YouTube. Love you guys. You guys have a great day.